Welcome to TableTalk Friday. My name is Seth Pittman, and I am joined by my best bud, Andrew Romano. How are you doing today?
Seth, I'm living life to the fullest. Slept in till noon, which is really weird. Feel like most of my day is gone. But I overslept Zach, I guess, because Zach is not here.
Yeah, Zach ended up having to do some work stuff today. It was crazy to me. Whenever you message and we're like, oh, I just woke up, I, being 3 hours behind, had already been up for like 3.5 hours.
Yeah. I don't normally do that. I don't like sleeping much of the day. I like taking advantage of it, especially in the mornings. Like when you get up and the nice crisp morning air wakes you up, But I was just exhausted from this last week of work. So, plus we had that, we just ran a session the other day. And that was a nice long one too.
Dude, it was honestly crazy because I had, I'll let you in on a little secret since it's just me and you. I had 4 maps of Labyrinth ready to go.
Did you? You 4? You had 4 of them?
I had 4. I had 4 ready to go. I did not expect it to take the entire session to get through one, but it did. And so I was like, well, now I'm going to have to rethink what I'm planning to do here, and I've got a great idea for next session that'll lead us into the following ones. But yeah, I had 4 maps ready to go for you guys to crawl through.
That's crazy because we literally just did the whole Mind Flayer arc, and you also had multiple maps ready to go, and we only did one. But for opposite reasons, though, because in the Mind Flayer colony, we had golden pathed it, versus now in this maze, we completely what's the color for not golden pathing a maze? Is it like the brown path, just the bad one?
Yeah, the stone path. You stone pathed
it. That's terrible.
Yeah, it was a very, very long session, especially because I was planning on the group actually staying together for the entire time originally, but then when Varys said that when Patrick said he couldn't make it to the session, I decided to have you guys scatter about with the magic instead.
I 100% calls. There's no way you anticipated this to split us up. You wouldn't have done that.
No, the thought at first was all right, I'm gonna have you guys running from all kinds of sigils and stuff on the ground, dodging traps, trying to make sure you stay alive. But then when he ended up not coming, I was like, okay, well now it's gonna be a scatter spell, and they're gonna have to figure it out.
Oh, it was a scatter. Okay, so an offensive scatter.
Well, not necessarily a scatter.
No, but good inspiration. You got to take your effects from something, right? I think the scatter spell is probably a good idea, especially since the dungeon wasn't that big overall. We were just kind of in different hallways and rooms, so the scatter spell would have worked just fine.
Yeah, and this is when I think this can honestly be a little subtopic of the episode, because I really saw the personalities of my players in this session.
Really think so?
Particularly, yeah, I think I really saw the personalities of my players because, one, I got you guys, you and Zach came up with so many creative ideas of getting around the traps and stuff, and that was great.
Honorable mention though, before you continue, honorable mention to this spider climb and hold. There was literally, for everyone listening, there was this moss that was kind of holding up this whole hallway that we had to get through, and we knew that it was weird magic moss. We didn't want to touch it because I tried to burn it away and it just grew back. No one wants hellish fire moss. So Oswin stands on the ceiling with the spider climb spell, holds my arms, and just because he's short, so he carries me through the hallway. It was great.
Yeah, it was awesome. I was very happy with how that went. And then after having you guys go through all that, yeah, you guys came up with creative solutions of dungeon crawling through here. I got to see a lot of Arafras handling his roleplay, but obviously the type of character he is, he's not exactly the most persuasive, he can't really talk himself out of anything. And so he goes through this entire scenario with an NPC and is just stuck there, and I thought he did a great job of playing into that. I think I especially saw Chase's personality come out in full force.
Poor Chase.
Because he got sent by himself, audience, one of my players. He was all by himself in this dungeon, and he's just trying to make his way through, and I feel like Chase has always kind of struggled with making decisions, so then whenever I put him in a labyrinth by himself where all he has to do is every few seconds make a decision, he could not do it. It was very difficult for him. I'm glad he went through it, but yeah, in the moment I was like, geez, I'm torturing a man right now.
Yeah, I felt really bad for Chase because I know he was struggling with it. But I like to see players going through situations that they're not necessarily always comfortable with, to challenge them a little bit, to make them think about how their character would push through. So it was nice. I think it was developing for his character, But I did feel bad, especially since looking back through our D&D history, right? There's a number of one-offs and arcs that have just been very challenging for Chase. It's like we're putting him through it, just to test him.
Yeah, he just has a little bit of trouble of like letting what happened happen. He's like, I think he's trying to like overthink everything, and that's why I told him, I was like, I just need you to trust me here. Like, I'm not just gonna kill Higili off a whim.
Yeah, but he was getting better towards the end. He was making some decisions a little bit more quickly, and I was proud of him.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So all that said, yeah, we did have a great session this week. And that'll kind of take us into our theme of the episode, because lately I have been running 2 different D&D campaigns, and I've learned a lot in this time because my work week gets very busy, so I don't have time to actually do any prep during the work week. So whatever I have on the day of the game is like whatever prep time I actually have available to me. And with that, I know I told Zach on last week, but I actually moved my Eberron group into Forgotten Realms. And the reason I did that was because I could not keep up with writing 2 stories for everybody and working. So keeping up with like literally studying Eberron between every session to make sure I'm doing things that justify the setting. I was like, you know what? I can play around in Forgotten Realms without really thinking about it, right? I know what goes on there. I know all the cities. I know the characters that they're going to find, so I don't have to think about it too much in Forgotten Realms. But for Eberron, I was like looking up, okay, what are all the dragon-marked houses, so I know what they're all doing with one another, so that way I can know how they're all interacting with the morning, so I can know all of that stuff. And I still want to run a campaign like that at some point, but I was like, me in the middle of learning Chinese is not the time to do it. So, yeah, I moved them into Forgotten Realms, and they had their first session yesterday.
Wait. What do you mean their first session in the new setting?
Yeah, so they stayed level 5. Some of them kept their characters but migrated their backstories into Forgotten Realms, and one of my characters completely changed. So he decided to make a new character. So I let them do it, but I let them keep their levels, and if they wanted to keep the gear that they had in Eberron, they could keep it because it wouldn't be out of place.
So you actually moved the story. So you're not saying like they teleported to a different universe. You're actually moving them.
No, they are different people, basically. They're like in the multiverse, and they are different versions of themselves, basically. Yeah, they're in Forgotten Realms now. There is no Eberron going on, and so yeah, it's a completely new story.
So did they wrap up their arc, or did you decide to kind of cut it short?
I asked them what they wanted to do. I was like, hey, we can do a couple of sessions, but it's going to take me a little bit to wrap up this arc. Or we can just go ahead now and work on something else. And they were like, well, if we want to make the most of it, let's just go ahead and start now. So they were okay with stopping where they had like just gotten the next clue, but they were intrigued. But I think for them right now, D&D, since they're not, a lot of them are new, it matters more that they play and everybody's comfortable playing rather than like we're in the middle of an epic story right now,
Yeah, for sure. You jumped them into the DLC content, and they haven't explored
exactly.
this
Like
game.
I jumped them into what I wanted to run, which was Eberron. But now that I've run it, I was like, okay, I'm doing too much studying for this. Let's instead jump over to Forgotten Realms where I'm comfortable. That way, I can make it more simple. And it was quite simple. I only used a couple of things for this. Our theme for today's episode, audience, is going to be kind of the tools that I've been using for DMing lately in order to make it a lot more streamlined for me. That way I'm not thinking too hard about sessions. I am just going into it with an open mind, ready to go. And I've been having a lot of fun with it. So for this last one, all I really had ready was one of my my DM battle maps, which I have the books of battle maps, and this one, all I needed was the one that looked like grass. It was just a grass battle map. Because Drew will be very excited to hear this. The first thing that I let them choose what sort of theme they wanted for their campaign, and of course they chose giants as their theme.
Yeah, there we go. Back
because
to
I pitched a couple of different ideas to them, and they were like, "That Storm King's Thunder one sounds really cool. We'll go with that." And I was like, "Okay, perfect."
Wait, you're actually running Storm Kings for them?
So I don't know if we'll actually get through the whole thing, but I am using all of the tools that go with Storm Kings. So the villain will be the villain from Storm Kings if they get that far.
Oh, that's so exciting. You have to keep me updated every single week on how this is going, because this is the first one I've heard of that I've run through, and now I could listen to someone else run through it.
Yeah, and so what I'm doing is I'm combining that along with a lot of the Phandalin adventures. So they started off near Phandalin off the high road and Tribord Trail. And in this area, one of my characters wanted to be like a tavern or inn owner, like a place where travelers could stop by on their way through. And so he had just like a tiny lodge off of the Tribord Trail, and I was like, that's totally fine with me. So he describes it to me. He tells me who works there and everything, and I RP them. And what I had happen is they all wake up to one of the stones from the Cloud Giants falling through the ceiling of this inn.
Oh, that's a good idea. I love that.
So with that, Sildar, who was a popular NPC from Phandalin, was also staying at this inn, and he's like, that castle looks like it's headed for Phandalin. We gotta go. Are you guys headed that way? They're all like, yeah. And so he's like, all right, hop in my wagon. Let's go. So this knight is taking them back to Phandalin. All the while, you're gonna love it when you hear this. Felgalos, the flying misfortune, as they reach Phandalin, tries to fly up because he's trying to get his special item back from these Cloud Giants that he thinks stole it, and he gets hit by a rock and crashes into the orchard in Phandalin.
Oh, that's so funny. It's very like him too.
Yeah, and so he gets hit by a rock, crashes into the orchard, and so now they've met my two main NPCs for them, that being Sildar and Felgalos.
Oh, that's awesome. I miss Felgalos so much. I wish we could still travel with him.
So yeah, they're gonna go through that whole thing. They held off some Zhentarim that wanted to get to Felgalos, who had been following him for a while. So yeah, they held off some like low level Zhentarim, and then Felgalos said, "Hey, I'm gonna go chase down those Cloud Giants. You guys can come with me if you want." And they were like, "Yeah, we want to." And Sildar was like, "Okay, you guys know you can't fight them, right? You will die." And Felgalos was like, "Yeah, you'll probably die."
Here's an option, but you're gonna die, by the way, if you do this.
Well, he was like, "If you come with me, there is no fighting." Like he was like, "They will kill me, they will kill you. You're not. You can come, but let's not make it a fight." And they were like, "Okay, well, we'll probably be more use in this town that just got ravaged by Cloud Giants, so we'll help out in Phandalin." So Felgalos went off to do his thing, and they're helping out in Phandalin now. And I'm gonna take them through some of like the low level 1 to 5 stuff, except ramp it up a little bit for level 5 characters before they hit level 6.
Ooh, okay, because we started that campaign. Was it at 1 or 3? I can't remember.
No, you guys started at 1.
Man, that's so long ago. We're level 19 now.
So yeah, I'm letting them sandbox, and I'm not doing a lot of prep for the sessions. I'm just gonna let them choose what they want to do. I'll give them a couple of options, and then I'll play off of it. So like I didn't have any plans going into that session. I just was like, I'm just gonna present the options that come up, and whatever they choose goes. If they had gone with Felgalos, I would have figured it out. If they decided to stay in Phandalin, I'll figure it out.
I think it's a really good time for you to do this, and maybe this is a good tip for other people running games. If you've ever run a game, to go through it again or run it for somebody else. Now, as you're going into your third major campaign, right? We're going into Spelljammer here soon. And we've talked about Spelljammer kind of encompassing a lot of the lore that we've sort of built up canon-wise, right? So redoing this and going through the story again, this is almost a simultaneous timeline as to what your previous players have gone through. So you're getting even more meta, and you're reviewing the things you already have, I guess prepping you even more for Spelljammer.
Yeah, I mean, it's not only that, but it's just like, it's a lot of pressure off of the DM to just be able to kind of like show up. And if what I'll say to everyone who's listening and thinking like, that sounds impossible, I can't improv like that. Just know your material really well on what you want to run. It's kind of like studying to pass an exam, right? If you've run something before and you're running for a new group, just don't go too out of the box. Like, just, you can stay in your comfort zone because the other group isn't gonna know. Like, they're gonna have no idea. Bring up some NPCs that your other players have played. Like, I've used characters as NPCs that my other players played in their games. Like, I may or may not have used Eknon to talk to somebody one time and just had like done the voice, gone in with him. Had him say a couple of things and then leave, but be like, okay, yeah, that was an easy personality for me to pull out, right?
Yeah, if I would describe my first character, I would describe him as easy. What an easy character.
No, I'm saying, like, I know those characters well, so it's easy to, like, pull out an NPC. Like, if Beryl showed up, I could pull out that character.
Yeah, I know, I get you, I'm just playing him.
Yeah. So, that's one of the big things I want to say, is just know your material. So, I'm running just some Forgotten Realms stuff. I'm in a Forgotten Realms sandbox. I know a lot of Forgotten Realms stuff, so, you can either use the modules, use some third-party material, but whatever it is, just know it pretty well. And or if you are prepping from week to week, try to just study for like what that week is going to be, because it's a lot to kind of think 5-6 sessions ahead. I think ahead a lot of times, but a lot of times the campaign ends up going a different direction anyways, and I end up changing those plans. So if you're prepping for like, more than 2-3 sessions ahead, your characters might make a different decision, and now you've wasted time and you have to change it all anyways.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely want to know your material. I'm the biggest person on knowing all material. I try to sleep on it as best I can. I study it ahead of time. I'll practice voices of the different NPCs that I've created in the mirror just to kind of really feel out their personalities. And then, you know what, when you actually sit down and get ready to play, that a lot of the times their personality changes, or for example, when I ran the Christmas one-off last year, I had built in like 3 or 4 different abilities that the end boss had, and you know what, he didn't use 3 of them because I completely forgot, because it was just fun, and he was fighting the characters, and I was more focused on what the players were doing and reacting to it. So keep in mind, you're going to improv a lot of what you have anyway, so just know the material, and you could go off from there. No one will know, and if they do know, it's a funny thing anyway, so just enjoy it.
Yeah, and yeah, don't be afraid to like change up what you're doing on the fly either, because I end up doing that all the time. Drew, would you believe me if Geely was not an NPC until the session started?
Really? Oh, I totally expected Geely to be a part of that. She was kind of perfect for the setting.
Whenever Aerofras got teleported to that room, I was like, okay, I don't exactly know what I'm going to do here, so I'm just going to have a little girl enter the room and I'll come up with what happens after that. And then she ended up being the whole focal point of the session.
She was terrible. For everyone listening, there was this terrible little girl named Geely who wanted to play games with us. It felt like we were in a Saw movie, right? And we're in the 8th or 7th layer of hell at this point, so we're not excited about this. And we start playing games with us, and she's cheating. She's rolling bigger die than we are. She's not telling us rules of these games, and she's like imprisoning us for no reason. She was terrible.
Yeah, I was wholeheartedly in on the idea of you guys like trying to like persuade your way through things and everything like that. Nobody got a good enough roll. Nobody got good enough anything. So she just was allowed to do whatever she wanted. Like, nobody was passing any saves. Nobody was passing any rolls. And I was like, all right, I guess I'm just doing whatever I want today.
Yeah, no, she was definitely running the show. So as far as like resources go, you said she wasn't part of the session prior. Did you pull her up on anything? Like, did you use ChatGPT to get like a name? Did you have a list of names ready, or you kind of just popped her out?
I just said it, and it happened.
Did you feel like, did it literally just start happening as you opened your mouth, or did you have the idea and implement it?
I wanted someone to come in, and I wanted someone to talk to Aerofras since he was by himself. I was like, okay, well, he's going to interact with someone because that's what Sean does best, right? He interacts with people. And so I was like, I'm going to have someone interact with Aerofras, and I'll see if he'll make a deal or if he'll play a game, and we'll come up with what happens from there. And it ended up being well beyond what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, that was a whole arc.
So that was more of like an improv moment on my part, but in like typically when I have an NPC, I will quickly find them. I'll make them up. I have some third-party resources that have a bunch of NPCs in them. Like one of an NPC that you guys met in the Feywild, like was an NPC from like this one book I found on Amazon. It was like $15-20. And it's just a book full of really creative NPCs.
Love that book.
And so yeah, I think those books are great. I'll have to like figure out the author and shout him out at some point, but. Yeah, the resources like that are always super helpful, but then also sometimes I'll come up with a personality in my head and I stick to it and I just come up with it on the fly. Like in my head, whenever the little girl was entering, I was like, okay, I need a name because that's the first thing he's gonna ask. Okay, name, Geely, that's it. Okay, let's go with it.
I always, if I'm DMing a game, I have a list of random names off to the side on a piece of paper, just in case. That way, on the fly, they talk to some random person. I'm not good at generating names off the top of my head. Otherwise, and you meet up with everyone named like John or David or Joe, and it's like...
well, that's how Front Gate Eric came about.
Well, Front Gate Eric is a legend. He's an exception from the rule, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I definitely always have those names ready to go, for sure. I don't know how you do it, Seth, or if you have a generator, or you just kind of pick something out of your butt.
A lot of time, if I am going for a name, like if I need an NPC in the middle... you can go on Fantasy Name Generator online.
I love that one.
That's a very good website. I pop into the Elvish names every time because I think they're the best. So I pop into the Elvish names and I'll just shuffle them, and then I'll look for one that makes sense with the character that I'm about to do. Sometimes I'll make it fit a little bit more. Like if it's a halfling, I'll go into the halfling names. But most of the time, for humans and elves, or like any noble-ish individual or an individual they might just meet on the fly, I'll just pick a random elvish name because it's like, oh, fantasy name,
Some
of
of the
course.
elf names are really good. I also love using the tiefling names because a lot of time they're very like it's about emotion or like a character trait. So you'll get like hope, you'll get grace, you'll get oh god, like just cool things like ashen, stuff like that. They're really cool names.
Yeah, so something I want to get better at in the future is I would actually like to find like a specific Patreon or a website or something that does like Roll20 battle maps, because I don't like the ones that they sell on the Roll20 marketplace. Like I've gone through a couple of times looking for like specific themes, but every time I look, I'm like, that doesn't really fit what I want. So I was thinking about going on to like a Patreon that you pay like $10 a month for and just have a giant library of maps to choose from. Because what I've been doing is kind of like searching up online and finding Google images and stuff that I use for the game. And just blowing those up to the size of a Roll20 map. And it's been working fine. But I would really like to support someone who's making maps, you know, and do that fully. Because when I do IRL games, I have my books of battle maps, which are basically the same thing. Like the company who makes those on Amazon, like if you look up just like giant book of battle maps, you'll find these like sets of big books with like 30 to 40 maps in them, and they are such a game changer for my sessions, especially these large books. Because Drew, you remember the giant one I had? I have two that go together that are actually bigger than those giant ones I had. So we have a gigantic map.
No, what, you have bigger ones than the giant ones?
Yeah. So it's two like of those giant books, and you put them next to each other, and the maps connect.
Oh, they're like the merging cards in Magic. I love that.
Exactly.
That's so sick.
Exactly. They merge together, and so there's like. Imagine two of those giant books being put next to each other, so it's even bigger.
That's disgustingly big.
It's great because I can fold out a quarter page for what you guys see, and then when you guys reach the next room, open up the other half of the page, and then whenever you guys reach the next set of rooms, I can throw down the next book.
Oh, that's so cool. Have you tried those large scroll maps that I've seen online? It's like it comes in like a little tube, and you unroll it, and it fills like a giant conference room table worth of map, and I think it's mostly meant for dungeon delving.
No, I have not. I do plan on for our final session, though. I've already picked out the pages from the battle map book that I want, and I'm trying to like get props and stuff ready because I want to have like a big session. So yeah, I've already got the pages ready to go for that. We're gonna have a massive map and a great fight, but altogether, I was like, I love those things. They're probably my favorite resource out of anything I've had. So if you're looking to liven up your game a little bit, because I don't know if we talked about it too much before, but the way we played our game in the past was all just me with an expo marker drawing on a blank battle map and just drawing like random paths and routes. And then way back in college, I would spend some time during the week like sketching out some maps. Like remember we went through all of Groodhog, which is a hill giant base in Storm Kings. We went through all of Groodhog with a map that I drew by hand.
Yeah, we used to use those, what were they, the giant sticky note grid pages you could stick to walls and whatnot. Those
yeah,
are
like
really
that you buy
handy.
from Staples for $30. Only reason I don't do that now is because it took me like 5 hours to draw each of those maps.
Yeah, I dabbled in it too. I really liked if you had prep time, right, it was really ideal for drawing out the map to convey exactly the setting that you had in your mind. But it takes a really long time to get it down. And if you're on a time crunch or you're running something every week, you can't always guarantee you have the time to build those out.
Yeah, I was doing like hatch marks for every single one, so it looked really official. It was all like really well two size hand drawn maps, and it was fun to do in college whenever I had a ton of free time. But nowadays, I couldn't even think about drawing a map. I'm like, just give me one of these books, I'll toss it down.
Yeah, you have to just kind of roll with what you have. As far as like, if you have time to prep, go for it. Build a map, draw a map on some paper, whatever you got to do. But half the time, who has the time for that?
Yeah, exactly. That'll take me into kind of another thing. Now, I went on Amazon before we started this next campaign with my players in person, and I purchased a very cheap set, or like cheap sets of dice, to give all of my players their first set of D&D dice, which was very nice for me. I just threw down like 7 different colors and was like, choose the one you want. There's not a whole lot of prep that goes into dice, so I don't really have a lot to say on it, but you can find them especially cheap now, especially in like large quantities. So for an online game, I don't know how you feel about this and how the audience would feel about it. I have always been comfortable just like trusting you guys to roll your dice in person, right? Because I feel like none of us are really gonna lie about our dice rolls. But I know that there are probably some groups, or if you have a new group and you're starting online for the first time and you barely know these people, a lot of people would cheat their rolls if they had the opportunity to roll in person. I had my suspicions at one point that a player was lying about their rolls, not in our group, and not in my group that I'm currently running for, but I definitely had it at one point where I was like, I don't feel like this person's really being truthful. But I didn't change the way I did it. Like, I still let everybody roll in person if they want. But yeah, it's good to be able to trust your players, but I'd be lying if I said that I didn't feel like I got the urge sometimes. I've never actually lied about a roll, but you could. You like I could be playing in a game and be like, "Oh, wow, I got a nat 20. That's crazy." Even though I really rolled a 2. I could do that. I've definitely gotten the dark urge to cheat before, but I don't do it. Whenever I was DMing back in college for Storm Kings, I did have a couple of instances where I quote-unquote changed the outcome to make it fit the story better, but I decided whenever I started Avernus a couple of years ago that I was not going to do that at all. I was like, nope, not happening at all this campaign. I will let the dice decide everything, and it made for some really interesting moments like character death and just some plot points happen that wouldn't have happened had I been like, no, let's change this for the plot. So I don't regret a single thing of doing that. And now, even for my new group in person, I do have like a little dice tray that I use, but I set that dice tray on the table and I make the rolls pretty much public every time. Like, everybody knows what the enemies are rolling to hit them. Sometimes if I'm rolling for groups of enemies, like I want to hurry up and get them out of the way so I'm not rolling for like a dozen enemies at one time, I will roll secretly just really quickly just to get it done fast. But yeah, for my group in person right now, I am making all of my rolls public. So they are seeing when they get hit. They're like, oh, good. Whew. My AC is 18 and he rolled a 17. And I'm like, no, guy, you don't understand. He hits you because he has a modifier too, just like you do. So that's been something I've been into, is making those rolls public. And I think the players enjoy it a whole lot too, given that their reactions when I roll. Because they'll see me roll and they're like, oh, come on. Oh, good. Okay. Man, I wish you were rolling this bad all the other times. So I do get some good reactions out of that, which I like a lot. I don't think is Drew back yet?
Testing. 1, 2, 3. Can everyone hear me?
Okay, cool. I filled the air while you were gone.
Oh, I was listening. You were doing fantastic. I would say I would listen to this podcast. And you know what? If you guys really like listening to Seth talk, you should totally check us out on patreon.com/TableTalk Friday, where you find exclusive content like early access and our post shows that we'll be recording shortly after the show. So feel free to stop in. You might even run into some of our favorite folks like Good Old Gamer, who is one of our higher tiered patrons. So stop in and say hello.
Yeah, and I will say I have a topic to bring up on today's post show that you won't want to miss, because I've been playing with a brand new device, messing with some stuff lately, and I can't wait to talk about it.
Ooh, a new device. I'm hoping it's one of those
device.
New,
that's right.
Woohoo! You know what? We'll leave it questionable. We'll just say it's for the post show.
So, I do want to tell you everything that's in my travel bag, if you're cool with that. It's what I take to every session, and then what I have for every session when I'm sitting at my computer. Are you good with that?
Yeah, no, that actually sounds really exciting just for me, because I'm the type of DM that I just kind of show up with everything and just organize it from there.
I have far too much stuff to do that. So first thing I do is I have both my books. I actually have like 5 battle map books because I never really know what I'm gonna run into, and so I have 3 tiny ones, which are like the size of a small like journal, and then I have 1 big one, and then I have 2 giant ones that all go into this little shoulder bag. I don't necessarily need all of those if I plan my maps ahead of time, but for my in-person session, I've been trying to just like let it go as is, so I can choose a map on the fly if I need to. So that's the first thing, is I've got like a bunch of battle map books. Next is going to be a speaker. I have a speaker in there because I am playing music for the whole room. The playlist I use, this will simplify your lives really easily, guys. If you're listening right now and you're like, what music does he use? I go to Bardify. It's a YouTube channel, and this guy makes music like every single week that's high fantasy themed, and it's all based on certain scenarios that your players will find themselves in. So yesterday I used his track called The Adventure Begins because an adventure was beginning, and then I switched to the suspense track whenever nighttime hit. So it sounds very much like it builds the suspense, getting them like on edge a little bit, just in case something happens during their long rest. And then I switched to his Roll for Initiative playlist, and I choose one based on the scenario they're going in. So yesterday they went for an ambush, so I used the ambush soundtrack. So he's got a bunch of different themes on there, and I couldn't be happier with Bardify. I have YouTube Premium, so I can loop the soundtrack and just leave it there until I'm ready to switch it.
Yeah, I'll jump in really quick and just say from a player perspective, Bardify is fantastic. I never feel, even if we're looping the music, I never feel like it's getting, repetitive. I never feel like it's dull. And as a DM, also just fantastic. As a DM who consistently overthinks his music choices, I'm always trying to make like new playlists and get new tunes for different things that are going on. But you know what? There's only so many tunes you could do, you could find. It's difficult to find all the stuff on the internet. So Bardify is super, super underrated. I feel like they only have like a ridiculously low amount of followers or subscribers that are on Spotify there. So if you ever get the chance, or you're going to DM something, just use Bardify stuff. It is fantastic, really good music. They really do have one for all scenarios, at least that I've found. And the low level encounter music is just awesome. I love that one.
Dude, it's so good, and it's good for high-level encounters, too, if you're running into, like, a random encounter.
Yeah, I read the title when that started playing for the first time. I was like, this is low-level? I gotta find the high-level one.
Yeah, exactly. So they have, like, epic-level encounters and stuff like that. I just think for any high fantasy game, it's perfect. Now, when we get into Spelljammer, I will still be using some of their playlists and stuff, but I will also going with, like, some Guardians of the Galaxy type playlists, like some space opera stuff. So, like, we might get into an epic fight and no sleep till Brooklyn starts playing or something like that. So, you can only really go through, like, one of those tracks once before you switch back to the fantasy soundtrack, because who wants to listen to the same song for 2 hours over and over again? But yeah, they are my quick prep soundtrack. If I need something specific, I'll go find it. Like, okay, this theme sounds a lot like Dragon Quest, so we'll use a Dragon Quest song. But nah, I very much enjoy that. And I used to just use regular RPG soundtracks before I found Bardify. But Bardify is where it's at. So next up on my list, obviously, I've got to have my tray of like 100 dice. And this thing is small, but I cram all my dice in it and close it. And it's got the top and bottom of this tray has felt on it, so you can close it. And then when you take it out, you have like 2 dice trays. So I have my tray of like 100 dice, and then I take like a one set and put it in the tray to the side, so that way I like the empty one, so that way I can use the ones that I need. And I always end up using like the same 8 dice, but I still have like 100 with me.
No, you gotta have at least 100 dice per hour that you're playing. So you need like 400 dice for sure.
Yeah, so you can never go too low on the dice. I also have a full-scale D100, the 100-sided die that you could buy at like conventions or online, but it's basically a ball.
Yeah,
I have one of those in my bag. And then last but not least, I just have like a charger for my stuff. Charger and some markers to make sure I can change things on the fly. But that's no, and I can't even forget to mention my module books and my player's handbooks. So I'll put a copy of my player's handbook, a copy of Tasha's. And then whatever, if I'm using a quest from a module or something, I might bring it with me. So, like I have Phandelver and Below, Shattered Obelisk, and Storm King's Thunder with me right now.
So for other DMs out there, as far as things to bring, do you bring just the books that you're looking to use? Because in the past, and I'm probably a terrible prep DM, right? I'm probably the example of what not to do. I would bring all of my books, because I wanted to have the resource no matter what happened.
Yeah, I just bring the ones I need. So, like yesterday, I only brought 2 books with me, and I didn't use either of them.
Oh, that's crazy. I always refer back to my notes.
Well, and that's another thing. I have yesterday, for some sessions, I will type out like a couple paragraphs and notes. I might have a couple of things that like I've gone back and forth with ChatGPT on, like if I have a magic item that I created or like a stat block I need, I'll have those in my notes either in my phone or on Google Drive. But like yesterday, you know how I type my intros. I type every single intro, guys. This is the most important thing in the session for me, is that I type out the intro fully, so that way we can have like a cinematic start and recap. So for starting this adventure, all I had was in the notes section of my iPhone an intro typed up for this campaign. That's all I had yesterday.
Hey, I think those intros are really important, though, because especially when you get all your friends at the table and you're kind of just talking, waiting for the game to start, right? I think it's extremely crucial that you have that moment of, okay, we're transitioning into the game now. Everyone listen, this is the setting you're in, this is the actual start. It really gets you kind of vibed into the game. It really immerses you.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I feel like that's been a staple from us, from Zach and I starting our first game with Lanky Eric all the way till now. Like, we have always had intros like that. So I continued to do them after Lanky Eric did them. And I hope that my players that I'm DMing for right now, whenever they go off to like their different bases and run games, like a year from now, I hope that they do it too, because I feel like it's a really good transition, and it's a staple at our table to have a transition from you guys are in the middle of having a conversation and I pop in with when we last left the party, you know? And yeah, I'll bring my module books with me. And then yesterday as well, I had Phandelver and Below the Shattered Obelisk, which comes with a map of the, like an area of the Sword Coast around Neverwinter, the High Road, the Tribord Trail, and Leyland. So I have, Leyland and then Yartar's off to the east. So I had that map along with me because this is the first time that I've had a full-scale map that I've been able to lay down and say, guys, this is like the small square, square mile radius of where you are. Like, this is exactly what this area looks like. And that's one really good thing about playing in the Forgotten Realms, is that there's so many resources like that like I can put down a full-scale map for one book that's like, this is the exact area you are in. It's very helpful. And they were really into it. They were like, okay, so where on this map are we? And I was able to just point, like, you're right about here. And it's very near Cragmaw Cavern on that map, but I was like, guys, right off these Phandalin locations, because we're not really going to be using these, just look at this map, you're right around here. So I was very excited to be able to use something like that. I think we're continuing to have technical difficulties as Drew kind of goes in and out here, so I don't mind continuing to fill space until he's here, and that gives me plenty of time to, well, and that's kind of where I'll wrap up, like, gear that I use in person. I really try my best not to over prepare, because if I over prepare, I'll just waste a lot of time. I think some of my best sessions have always been whenever I am thinking on my feet and on the fly, and while that is stressful to think about, like, oh, I don't know if I can think on the fly like that, getting that skill higher and making the screw-ups that you need to make along the way has made me an exponentially better DM, because now a notable NPC will come out of the air instead of like me spending so much time preparing for them to fall flat. Instead, now like a character like Geely, the one we talked about earlier, this little fiendish girl who like roamed this area of the labyrinth, she came off as a really intricate and well done character, even though I thought of her on the fly. So honestly, I'll say, don't over-prepare, don't under-prepare, but also really, really try to relax at the table. Once you get it, it's a skill like anything else. It's like playing guitar. If you're going to play guitar, you're going to need thousands and thousands of hours of practice in order to become a professional guitar player. So if you're trying to become a good DM, you're not going to be a good DM day one, most likely. You might be an okay DM, but like if you want to become a good or even a great DM, then you're going to need practice. So you need to go in there and have good sessions, have bad sessions, have sessions that have talks with your players to make sure that you're doing things the way that they like and the way that you like. All of those things are especially important to make a game work. And the same thing if you are a player listening to this and you haven't really DM'd before, let your DM do those things. Don't expect them to be as good as one of the greats that you've listened to on podcast. No need to mention names, Matt Mercer. Even Brennan Lee Mulligan. Don't put those expectations on your DM, because they are probably doing their best and learning how to do it at the same pace that you are. If you're a brand new player or like this is their first campaign, you cannot have expectations of them. Just go along with it and make the story together, because I think a big theme that I've had at my tables in the past has been, this is a collective storytelling experience. I am not the one just telling the story. Do I write like the long overarching plot? Yes, I do. But as players, we are telling the story together. If my character decides they want to sacrifice their life to a woodland being, I will allow them to do it. If
never happened before.
Yeah, no. If my character decides that they would like to trade their soul with a devil, or they would like to make a bargain for something powerful, they're going to be allowed to do that. It's not like and a lot of times I wait until they do those things to really fully plan them out. Like, it's okay for things to happen on the fly without you intending them to, because you're not the only one writing the story. It's everybody else's job too.
I would argue it's even better to let your players write the story. It's always more fun when they start to spin off and make their own arcs. They create their own development because it's completely natural. The DM didn't write that in. You're not railroading them to any sort of specific scenario, right? They're actually creating their own story, which is the reason we play D&D. We want to make these hero characters and feel like heroes and do hero things. So let your players run it out on their own. It's more fun.
Yeah, I mean, I'll never get tired of thinking about the time that you check the mail.
Oh gosh.
The time that Drew's character checked the mail, I had a letter waiting for him, and we ended up having one of the best missions of our life that I wasn't planning on going on.
Always check your mail, boys. Always check your email right now. If you're listening, check your email right now.
If there is mail there, you better go check it. So yeah, I mean, that's really what I want to say. As far as prepping for online sessions go, we've been playing on Roll20 for a good 6 months now, and we haven't, a lot of things changed once we started playing online. One, I forget my dice every session, and so I have to get up whenever the first dice roll has to be made and go get them. But so I forget my dice every session, but for me, the quickest thing I do is I pop into Roll20 and I just lay down the tokens that I need. I'll copy and paste all my character tokens over to the map that I need and just have them ready to go. And a lot of times we'll pop in and I'll say, hey, whatever you guys help this, go ahead and fix it. You guys all have control of your characters, just fix everything for me, but your tokens are there. A lot of times I'll just have an enemy in mind and I'll just lay it off into the dark side, the DM side or the Fog of War section of the map, and be like, okay, I'll figure out where that goes later. Just lay down all the things that you want to have happen and have them there. As well as I would say it's a very good rule of thumb to either prep a map or two ahead, not necessarily have story written for those sections already, but prep a map or two ahead, so that way, or a couple of maps that you may or may not use, so that way, if you end up needing to use them, you can pop them in when you need them. Because that's been a thing for me where either the players have barreled through a section of a map and I'm like, oh shoot, I gotta come up with something, or they'll spend a whole. I'll have a couple of maps ready, even though they only spend a whole session on one of those sections. And a really good tool for making tokens and such is I think it's called Token Stamp 2, right, Drew?
I actually use the old token tool. It may even be a newer version of what that you guys are using of what I use. But usually token tool, I think it's Token Master, Token Stamp, anything like that usually will work pretty well.
Dude, Token Stamp 2 is a game changer. You go on, you find a picture of the creature you want, you go on Token Stamp, you just upload it quickly there and click download, and it makes a token that's perfect for the game. Perfect size, perfect everything. I've been using that for all of the sessions, and it takes me 5-10 minutes to have all the tokens I need ready. I can make 5 to 6 tokens in a couple of minutes.
Yeah, I completely agree. As a DM, I've used everything from literal pennies to tokens to miniatures, right? And if you can't use actual miniatures in person, the next best thing are these token tool tokens. They're just fantastic.
Oh yeah. So highly recommend bookmarking Token Stamp 2 and just popping it on there, because you can also change the colors of the borders and stuff. So any hellish creatures we've had with that fiery red border, and then any other neutral characters I'll have with just the typical default brown one. I think it's great. And there are plenty of resources online for running your games. I have found Roll20 to be very simple because it's the one with the most stuff on it already. But I do hear that Fantasy Grounds and what's the other one? There's one other one that's like
Dragonspire or something.
No, Tailspire's on there, but it's an early access thing and it's not really that far along yet. I don't think. I know some people do use it, but I've never used Tailspire. But using these virtual tabletops, just find the one that works for you. Roll20 only works for us so easy because one, it's free to use if you can get all the tools down and have all your maps and stuff ready. But it's just, I think right now, the most well supported one. But there are plenty of ways to DM that don't involve using a virtual tabletop at all. So do whatever feels most comfortable for you. Learn your tool set very well though. Because if you don't know the tool set well, you'll spend a lot of time just trying to figure it out. But if you do know the tool set well, how to go through the layers on the map and whatnot, then all of a sudden it becomes really simple to just we had a section of a game a couple of weeks ago where I did not have a map ready to go, so I quickly found one, tossed it into Roll20, got all the layers set up and everything, and we had the rest of the session there. And it only took me a couple of minutes of me being like, okay, guys, you just did something I didn't expect, so just give me like 3-4 minutes really quick. And then you guys talked while I prepped that portion, if you remember that correctly, Drew.
No, which portion was it?
The Badgers.
Oh, the Badgers. Yes, the Badgers. See, I can't believe you as a DM, Seth, were not prepared for the Badger technique. It's sort of meta nowadays.
Yeah, no, I was not prepared for, what was it, like 16 badgers to be summoned to dig underneath my encounter.
Well, there was giant colossal statue monsters that wanted to fight us. We're like, yeah, now we're just going to go underneath them. So we did.
Yeah, so all that said, that's pretty much everything I use. I use Google Drive for my notes, I just take simple notes. I use ChatGPT often in order to create items. And stat blocks. So if there's a creature that I want, but I don't have, like, that I have an idea for, but there's not an actual official stat block for it, I'll create it in there. And yeah, that's like everything. And then obviously, when you go to every session, you need to have caffeine, snacks, and drinks ready.
Gotta have them.
So I always have like an energy drink or something next to me, especially because whenever we're playing, it's the afternoon for me and it's the evening for you guys. So like I'm starting in the afternoon, the second half of my day is just starting. You guys, it's nighttime. So, you guys, do whatever you want with that. But, I always have like some sort of drink ready to go. I don't often snack during the sessions because I'm usually so focused on DMing, but I know if I was playing, I probably would.
So I will say, and I know we're kind of joking about the caffeine thing, just to like keep us awake and going, but as far as being prepped for a session, resources, you need to have a drink of some kind.
Yeah.
If you don't have like some water or a soda or something along, you're trying a lot of voices. You might be trying to do Eknon Greylock here, and then you gotta jump into the deep and dark dragon that's been under the volcano for you. Your voice will just get ruined if you're not constantly drinking. So make sure you're drinking something while you're doing it.
Yeah, and I've actually made it like a rule of thumb that somewhere about halfway into the session, I'll be like, all right, bathroom break, everybody get up and go pee. Like, yeah, I've made that like a routine in every session lately where I'm like, okay, cool, 5-minute break, we'll be right back. And then we'll start on with the next portion of the session. So yeah, I think that I have fully adopted the lazy DM style lately. And now I've been prepped for these sections of Avernus for a while, so I did do full prep for these. So that's not to say that things won't come up on the fly, which, like, as we saw happen in the last session, but I did like do a lot of prep on those, but like at the same time, I'm running a full Forgotten Realms campaign to the side that I'm not doing like any prep for. I'm just kind of like, I'll probably read through a couple of quests just to give myself ideas, and just to get the NPCs. Like, I want to have the canon NPCs from Phandalin down in my head. So they've met Sildar, but they haven't met the rest of them yet. So I want to have those NPCs down in my head, so I'll probably read through that, but that's about it, as long as we can roleplay everything properly and it feels satisfying in the moment.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with all the items you've said to bring, the full setup, right? Obviously, I'm sometimes a little more extravagant with some of my things unnecessarily. I'll bring I think to the Christmas one-off, I brought a duffel bag of props.
Yes.
So, don't be afraid to bring some props too. Of course, if you're running online, I'm not sure what kind of props you might bring. Maybe you want to be a little eccentric and have a soundboard of sorts that you could make little arrow noises or swords clanging. That would be pretty cool.
I think all of that depends on how long you have to prep or how often you DM. Like me, I'm DMing like twice a week. So,
oh yeah,
that means I'm doing much less prep per session. I think you'll run like 2 sessions for us this year.
Yep, it was a one-off, and then the Christmas one-off is what I do this last
year.
Yeah,
so 6 months of prep per session is in order, and those sessions are always amazing and very well developed. So I'm very happy with that. It makes for a good time for the times that I get to play.
Yeah, that's true. And when we have a forever DM, right, like yourself, we know exactly what to expect, and you always give us a good time. And it's nice that when I run that one time a year, right, I could do something different from what you do, and it'll be like a different experience.
Right.
Just bring some different, fun to the table.
Absolutely. All right. Well, with that, Thank you so much for listening to Table Talk Friday, a D&D podcast, where this week we talked about the resources we use for DMing sessions, prepping, and gave a couple of little story tidbits, updates, and general advice as the DM at your table, and even a little bit as the player. If you'd like more content like this, you can find us on patreon.com/tabletalkfriday, where good old Gamer is supporting us, and he's going to get to listen to this week's exclusive post show, the post show that I'm very excited to go into and talk about. But if that's, you can also find us on social medias at Table Talk Friday, where we have been posting a little more often recently. But with that, I'm gonna need the Forever DM to take us out. Oh wait, that's me. I'm the Forever DM. I have to work the whole week and then do homework and then do more homework, which is my D&D prep, but it's fun homework, so we enjoy it. It's a good time. Thank you for coming to my D&D session. We do have snacks off to the side. We have I ordered a pizza. It's not here yet. We'll have to take a break in the middle of the session to eat. And did everybody level up? Hey, did everybody level up from last session? Did everybody level up?
Definitely forgot.
Come on. I worked this entire week, and in freaking I prep a session for you every week, and you don't have the decency to level up before you come to the session?
I'm sorry, DM.
God. Oh, okay. Goodbye.